Hello to our partners in hospitals and clinics. My name is John Park, and I'm the Communication Center Manager for Classic Air Medical and Port and Affair Rescue. And today I want to go over some training for our FlightCall app for you so that you understand how this tool works, how you can easily get helicopters launched to your hospital without even needing to make a phone call. So without any further ado, let's kind of jump right in. This is the main screen you're going to go to. Now, I've got this opened up on the web. You'll see up here this is the website address to go to the application. Once you have an account set up for your hospital, everything should work flawlessly through it. This will also be the same thing if you have this on a phone or a tablet. This is an app available on iPhone and Android, and it should all look the same. So no matter what platform you're using it on, it should all look the same. So up here, this is where you can edit your profile. This will all be set up when you create your account. It's got my name and my phone number here, and right now I've registered myself as one of our hospitals as Ashley Regional Medical Center. This is a hospital in Vernal, Utah that we work with a lot, so I'm going to go ahead and simulate calls from them today. We have a few buttons down the way. Home will always take you back to this screen here. Flight call is how we're going to activate a flight, and you can either click this here or you can click this bar down here. Active calls will show you any calls that are already in progress for that hospital. So maybe you've started, you went to your nurse's station, and this is where you've launched the call. But you have another PC maybe in your trauma room where you're working on things you want an ETA, but you don't have the manpower to run back out to the nurse's station. You can pull up this on that computer and see exactly how far out the helicopter is. We also have an educational calendar. This currently isn't working, or it's not enabled. It works. What it is it just shows you educational opportunities to be able to work with our crews. And then finally, sign out will take you out of the application altogether. If this is on a tablet or a phone, you can also press this button and it will engage your phone to call dispatch directly for a telephone call. So if you need to speak to us, that's one way. All right, so let's go ahead and launch your flight. You can just start by clicking this orange button here. It'll ask you to put in your PIN. On my demo account, I have it at 4300. So you'll notice because it's set up as a hospital, it's already dropped the PIN right on top of Ashley Regional. No need to do anything else. From this screen, you can move back to the home screen if you want. You can zoom in, zoom out. But this should all be set up for your hospital prior to ever calling. So we have two choices down here, call for flight or standby request. So maybe you have a patient incoming and you're not sure if you want to fly him, but you just want us to be ready in case you do, hit the standby request. If you hit that button, what's going to happen on our end, we're going to perform the weather check if it's necessary. Then the crew is going to get everything ready and everybody's going to be waiting in the helicopter for the launch. Now understand, when you launch a helicopter, it takes us generally between about 10 and 15 minutes just to get in the air from the time you say go. So if you want a quick response, it's a good idea to have us on standby first if you're not sure if you're going to launch us, and then that will cut some time down for when you say go, that we're not having to start from scratch. Then we also have the call for flight button, which basically just says, we need you now, we're ready for you now, get in the air. So standby request is also another good opportunity to use if you're still searching for a bed. Maybe you've already called the receiving hospital and they're still sorting out whether or not they have a bed. This is a good way to get us started, but without getting us actually in your ER, but kind of reserving the unit for you. So in this case, we're going to just say we're ready. So we're going to call for a flight. And you'll notice here the hospital's already pre-populated. The coordinates that we need to find you are pre-populated. Your address is already there. Your caller's name, which is, in this case, it's just going to say the hospital name here. We also have the callback number. And now right here at patient pickup unit, this is where you're going to start with what we need you to fill out. So you can type in ICU here. You can type ER. So we'll say this is going to be an ER room number 2. And then we got to choose where this patient's going to fly to. So once you click this, it will bring up this box to start typing. The best practice is start with the 2-letter initials of the state you're flying it to. So let's say we're going to fly this one into Intermountain Medical Center inside of Salt Lake, or actually let's use the University of Utah. So I type UT, and this is going to bring up all the hospitals in Utah that are in our system. And we can go right down here for University of Utah Hospital. Bam, there we go. So now it's set up there. Now we need a patient wait. So this is one thing that can kind of slow things up a little bit. And let me just explain for just a moment of what we need for the patient wait. So our helicopters can carry up to about 350 pounds of patient. There are some logistics with that on height and girth. But basically, if you're under 300, you're pretty much good to go. So anytime you put the weight in here, if you say 100 kilograms, or if you put 250 pounds, anything's going to be fine. The only time we're going to ever call you on this and try to get more information is if you're north or you're above 300 pounds. That's where it gets a little sticky for us. Other than that, this is just helping us with fuel calculations. Our pilot uses this because they have to use the total weight of the aircraft when they're planning how much fuel to bring. So please, one other tip here, put the kilograms or pounds just so we know. If you just put in 100, we don't know if that's 100 pounds or 100 kilograms. So we'll say this patient's 100 kilograms. And then I'm going to go ahead and just type the word test here. You don't need to do this when you're launching us. I just want my communication specialist to know right now that when we send this, that it's a test call. So now this is any other notes you want us to know about the patient. So if you have a name, a date of birth, if you have the diagnosis, anything's helpful. The key thing we're looking for here is triggers for our crews to know what additional equipment to bring. So maybe if we say that this is post, I'm going to put it in caps here, post cardiac arrest on a ventilator. That's pretty helpful for us. At this point, we're going to know we're going to need to bring a vent. There's probably going to be some pumps involved. This tells us a little bit of what we need. Now, to make it even smoother, if you can add in, I'll tell you all the information that would be nice to have. We would love the name, the date of birth, the gender if it's not obvious from the name, and diagnosis, and then whether or not they're intubated. Those are the key pieces of information that we can use. If you only put this, we're still going to launch. We understand you're busy. We understand that generally when you need a helicopter, it's pretty chaotic in your ER. No sweat. Put whatever you need to here. This just will help us out, and it will probably save a phone call coming back to your ER, and it will save everything. Has any other aircraft turned down this request? Now, this one's a super important one for us. In the air medical community, we want to make sure that our crews are safe, the patients are safe, and there's a number of reasons flights get turned down. And so just because another agency that maybe you call first turns you down for weather doesn't mean we're going to turn it down too. There's a lot of factors that come into this. So, but we do want to know if you called somebody else and they turned it down for weather so we can investigate why. We want to make sure we're seeing the same things they're seeing. But in this case, we'll say we were the first call. So nobody's turned it down for weather. And now we click confirm flight call. So now the computer is going to start doing its work. It's submitted the request. As soon as our CAD system receives it, you're going to see this light up here. Now, in real-time practice, the awaiting unit asset assignment might take just a little bit of time. And the reason for that is we have to do a weather check. And a weather check can take up to about 5 minutes. When we do this, we're contacting our pilot. We're letting them know where their patient's going from, where the patient's going to, and giving them all the information about that so that they can look at the weather. In this case, between Vernal and Salt Lake City, we've got a big mountain range here that they got to get over. Maybe they need to fly a little south to come in, but they need to do the weather check. So you might see that screen hold on that spot for about 5-ish minutes. If you get to this screen here, whereas the big map, this means that we are on the way. Once you see this, we have accepted the flight and we have launched. The only reasons we're going to call you is if A, the weather check wasn't good enough, or B, we just didn't have a unit available. We're only going to call you if we cannot help you with this call. So once you hit that awaiting assignment, you can walk away from the computer and you can get back to what you're doing and then come back and just make sure the screen came up, or your phone will be ringing shortly. So this screen here shows where the helicopter's at. In this case, it's showing it's on the pad at Ashley Regional. It's showing kind of the distance. But we'll get them over there. It'll give you an ETA of how long it'll take for them to arrive at your hospital. And then once they're in the air, you can even track the flight to see where they're going. And this can be pretty useful in the future, that maybe the university here might log in just to get an idea of how far out the helicopter is. So the information on the screen here is the tail number, how long we've been in flight for, the ETA, which is how long it'll take us to get to your hospital. In this case, the helicopter's already there, and then the ETE in minutes. Now on the screen, we can also play with the map. This is Google Maps, so you can zoom in, zoom out with your cursor, with your mouse wheel. There's the zoom buttons here. You can hit this to call to dispatch, or you can go back to the home screen. We have one other button here, this paper airplane. This allows you to do a two-way chat with our dispatchers or our communication specialists. So let's say in this, we say that the receiving doctor will be Dr. Bradley. Let's say maybe we were waiting for a bed and now you just found that out, so you can update us with that information and you send it. And our CS will receive that and he'll send you back a copy just to let you know that that message is received. Now, one concern we've had from people is they don't want to have to check this just to see if we're asking questions. If we have a question or we need to contact you, our first route is going to be by phone unless you've already showed us that you're chatting over this. If you've started this messaging system up, we might message back and forth over this. So there's your copy right there from our ComSpec. So we will chat with you back and forth over this if there's additional information, but there will be nothing critical you'll have to look for here, okay? This is just going to be extra things to make it easier. We want to make the process of getting our team over to you as simple as possible. So this is the whole thing. We're on the way at this point. Everything else, you just need to prepare for our medical team to get there, whatever paperwork they require, like the EMTALA, patient demographics, and that's it. We won't be calling you from our dispatch. This kind of helps. A lot of our customers are smaller rural hospitals, and when a trauma comes in, they're already instantly overtaxed. So the time it takes to make a phone call sometimes is too much. So this is just one more tool in your toolbox for a way to get a hold of us. Sometimes this is easier for people, sometimes it's not. So we just wanted to demonstrate this for you and show you kind of how the whole process works. And I hope that this works out great for you. And if you need any additional training, I'd like you to reach out to me. Oh, I'm sorry. One other thing before we go. Let's say at this point you've launched us, and now for some reason you need to cancel us. It's as simple as this one button right here. You don't need to call us back to say cancel. You can just choose that, and it's gone. And it's back to status quo. So that's the only other thing I had to show you there. So if you would like to get any further training, or if you have additional questions, I'm going to go ahead and put my information up on the screen right now. Again, my name is John Park, and I'm the manager over the Communications Center, and I'd be happy to help you with any issues. If you have any support questions about the application, please let me know. We just want to make sure that this is an easy tool for your ER or your clinic to use to request us. So again, thanks so much for taking the time to watch this training video, and I hope you learned something. Thanks.